EduTech Guys present a conversation from our live coverage of FETC in Orlando, Florida on Wednesday, January 24th, 2018. Enjoy the program.
My name is Kate Finnefrock. I am from New York City, from a company called Project Ed, and we work with other companies in the education space and philanthropies in the education space. We've been in EdTech now I've been in EdTech now for almost 20 years.
Wow.
Which I'm enjoying actually now, because now I get to actually look around and see some of the things that we thought were impossible when we started are very possible, and now we have new problems.
Well, true, that's right. New problems to solve, right?
Exactly.
So what brings you to FETC? You're doing a session?
I am doing a session, yes.
Okay.
Tomorrow at 10 a.m. we're doing a session on learning disabilities. I'm very excited because we have a panel. It's in room 331C, I think, in the South Side. A panel with Dr. Ayana Howard, co-founder of Xi Robotics, which is an amazing company that does makes all this great hardware for students with learning disabilities. Andrew Friedman from Learning Ally, and Elias from Wonder. So 3 really great companies who are doing really amazing things with technology, specifically focused on the special ed market, both at home and at school.
Yeah.
And that is one area that I think doesn't get as much attention as I would love for it to in the education space, because we talk so much about the technology for the general ed classroom. We talk about some of the pitfalls, which are all they're important subjects to talk about, right? BYOD policies and being safe on the net, and not just using technology for technology's sake. All those things are totally true, but technology, I feel like, has so much capacity to really help the students who are right now not always getting the attention and the funding and the specialized care that they need. So it's really fun to be able to help 3 companies that are doing great things have a platform to share those with the teachers and school districts who might not know about it.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Can you give our listeners an idea of some of the tech that you're going to talk about during the session?
Sure. So there is a really wide range of things, and it ranges all the way from some tools to help schools identify students who have things like dyslexia much earlier. A big problem that's happening now that's sort of underreported is that students with learning disabilities, especially things like dyslexia that can be very well treated and well worked around, often aren't discovered until they already fail, right? So I'm not proposing that we add a bunch of more testing into schools, not using that word.
Don't crucify her, folks.
Exactly. But having the right tools and training in place so that teachers and parents can help identify those students all the way back in pre-K or kindergarten, and then give them the resources and tools that they need to help them read and learn to read when they start much younger, especially because, of course, by the time you get to middle school, if you're not reading fluently, you're now reading for content, right, outside of just the skill of reading. And so now you're behind in science, you're behind in social studies, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of really great products, too, for autistic kids and students who are in occupational therapy that really interact with them in different ways. Like there's one that's a turtle that you sort of hug to your body, and you can actually press on it to answer the questions. And so it's a way of getting students to interact with content in a way that feels safe, that works with their motor skills. I'm not doing it justice, but when you see the different solutions that folks have come up with, you realize that they really have sort of gotten in the minds and the bodies of these students to really say, how do we help them learn, and how do we help them feel safe while they're learning, and how do we create an environment that makes it possible for the teachers, who often, of course, I know I'm preaching to the choir here, do not get the specialized training that they need and the support that they need in order to support these students. How do we make it easier for the parents and the teachers and the educators and the administrators to actually have these kinds of things available in a way that's actually easy to adopt and not some huge, yet another technical hurdle that's like, great, another thing I have to deal with as I try to manage this class of 28 kids who all have different everything anyways. Even if they don't have an IEP or on a 504, they're still all over the place in terms of, where they are and what they know and what their home situation is and whether or not they ate breakfast. I mean, we could just go on and on and on.
Right. Well, I will say for the record, you did it justice. I mean, of course, you guys can't see because you're listening to us, but she was demonstrating how the turtle worked. And I mean, my brain is just like, holy cow, that is amazing that you have this physical object, this turtle that the student can hug. And again, like you said, when they hug a certain part of it, that's one answer, and you hug a different part, and that's a different answer. And That is just,
Yeah.
it's amazing to me,
For
the
autistic
technology
students
that
I
folks
know,
come up with.
I mean, we're getting into,
Man.
like I like to say lately, technology has finally caught up with what we need in education, and it's affordable,
Yes,
it's
it is getting there.
adaptable, it's easy to implement, and now we're at the point where we can realize, oh, I can finally help these students who've been sitting in a corner, almost literally, because we didn't know what to do, or we waited to the last minute. Yeah, and I would like to know how that, thinking about the turtle, think of a student who gets that, an autistic student gets that, and say within 6 months to a year is maybe becoming even more verbal, possibly because of the comfort that they have had with that, and the acceptance they've had, and the comfort level that it's brought into the classroom with the other students and the teacher.
Yeah, I mean, truly, I think I'm such a huge advocate, and I know I'm not alone in this, that when technology and the curriculum is brought together in a way that works for the students who have learning disabilities and the students who are further behind, it really helps everyone in the classroom, right? That, I mean, the gains they have made with specialized instruction for autistic students in the last few years is game changing. I mean, I cannot believe how far they have come.
Yeah.
But also seeing where smart technology is being used. So, for instance, where they have all the students, say, for instance, using, I don't care what it is, Chromebook, tablet, whatever, pick your device. And, every one of us has access to the supports that are quote unquote for ELLs, right?
Right.
Or, for whomever. And it's like, well, actually, maybe it's helpful for me to hear the definition verbally, right? Because that's the way that my brain works. Or, I'm not an ELL student, but maybe it's really helpful for me to also have a ability to diagram out and outline and use that structure to help think through how I'm going to write something.
Yes.
And the fact that isn't both called out to me as something that makes it bad or worse that I'm doing it that way, but it helps that differentiation, take some of the weight off of the teacher. But I really think fundamentally it's bringing some of those supports that all kinds of kids need in the classroom, and I think it makes huge gains for the students who really need it, and I think it actually really helps the rest of the classroom, and wherever we can take that stigma away and then take some of the pressure off the teachers would just be lovely.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
Well, and the equity that it brings.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, the biggest deal, where every kid feels equal to that other kid sitting next to him. And,
Yes.
and sometimes we think that, well, that student doesn't think that way because they have this disability. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
That's not true. And they're now part of the herd, and it feels much better to them. And that's usually all they're looking for, is to help them make that jump.
Yeah,
I think
we were all in middle school once.
Yes, exactly.
Talk about the
Exactly.
roughest time ever.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back there. I'm
No one
really
does.
dreading when my children finally get to that age, and
I've been through it with 2 daughters, and it wasn't bad, but we made it through. So
yeah, I'm trying to pretending it's not going to happen. Actually,
You'll have to let us know how that works for you.
So, besides your session, what do you look to get from here? I know the exhibitor floor is going to give you lots of new tech. So
yes, I like the exhibitor floor. I think it gives an interesting idea of sort of what people are promoting. Though I get that, sort of other places too, just from, reading everything. What I actually really love is the impromptu conversations with the teachers and administrators.
Yeah.
We have an educator board at our team, at our company, because we want to have educators we can reach out to all the time. We talk to teachers and interview them probably once every 2 or 3 weeks, just to sort of keep our finger on the pulse of like what's really happening, hearing what people are worried about and what's going on. But conferences like this give you an opportunity to do that 1,000 times over in a period of 3 days, right?
Yes.
I mean, I just grabbed a slice of pizza and sat down at a table with 7 other people, and we just talked, right, about what they were thinking and what they were seeing and what they were trying to get out of this and what the problems were. And we had people from all over, of course, rural towns and a city, and, just really all over the country. And so that opportunity to really just say, okay, like, what are you looking for? Like, what are you trying to solve? What, what's going on right now in your head? And what of this is bouncing off of, I heard that before. And what of this is, okay, no, this is new. And we're worried about this, or this is a new problem for us, or...
Yeah. And sometimes it's the, I heard this before, but oh, wait a minute, I hadn't thought of it that way. So it's just, it's amazing the learning that goes on outside of the walls of the sessions.
Yes.
Out here, You know,
Yes.
like you said, grabbing a slice of pizza downstairs. You know,
I
that's
really like it
awesome.
because I think folks here there's no agenda, right?
Yeah.
No teacher or administrator is here to prove some point, right? They're here to learn. They're here to
Right.
see
Right.
what's out there, maybe to solve a particular problem or look for a solution. But when they're talking to each other and to folks like me, they're just sharing, right?
Right.
What's
Yeah.
going on in their district and what's happening, and what they're currently really excited about and what's they're not.
Right. Well, and they get to talking to you, and then they're like, okay, give me your contact information, and then a couple of weeks, 3 months, 6 months down the road, all of a sudden there's that they reconnect and say, I remember talking to you about when we were talking about some of the special ed stuff, and let's visit some more, and so there you
Yeah,
go.
we
So,
really love connecting because we don't work directly with schools, but we really love connecting people to other folks that can help them out.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think also because we work a lot with the nonprofit space, also in foundations, is that we look for those opportunities when somebody says, "Oh, we're doing this here and we're doing this there." Like, okay, you two should talk to each other.
Right, yes,
Because
exactly.
You're working on
Exactly.
similar things, or I know that they're putting funding into this research, and being
Right.
able to connect those dots is really fun. And here you have an opportunity to do that with
Yeah.
a lot of people that we all flew in or drove in from lots of faraway places, and otherwise I don't get to talk to a teacher
Yeah.
from Daytona
Right.
every day.
Exactly.
So it's fun.
So
that
along
was
the
awesome.
topic of communication, so if our listeners wanted to reach you, what's the best way?
That's a great question. Well, we have a website, projected.com. And I also have a hashtag, but my name is Kate Finnefrock, so I don't know if that's worth spelling out for people. But Project Ed is the name of the company, and as I said, we work with education companies and foundations, and we're also super, super happy to talk to any teachers or educators and learn what's going on with them, and also connect them if we can to something that they're interested in, or other people like them, or do we know of a resource for them, because that's a lot of what we do, so we just like to do that too when we can.
Awesome.
Well, very, very
Thank you all.
cool.
Well,
Yeah.
before you go,
Yes. First of all, thank you very much for
You're very welcome.
spending some of your
Yes.
time, your FETC time with us. And
No problem.
before you go, we do have a little parting
Aw,
gift for
thanks.
you. There you go.
Excellent.
Something to remember us by, I guess,
Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
Thank you,
you
guys.
can say,
But
folks,
thank
they
you so
tortured
much.
me for 15 minutes. It was terrible.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you much.
so much. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
You've been listening to a recorded conversation from EduTech Guys live coverage of FETC 2018. For more information about EduTech Guys, visit edutechguys.com. And thanks for listening.